Very good evening, friends. Meeting again in the session of Materia Medica. Yesterday we have finished one important polycrest, but a very acute remedy, that is the aconite necklace. In fact, we have learned many aspects of aconite from the Allen skimmers. And today we have to go towards another remedy which is again called to be a complementary to the sulfur. It is Aloe Socotrina. What has happened when we learn the Aloe Socotrina from colleges? We used to understand this remedy is the remedy for the hemorrhoids, and we keep one thing in our mind, that is like a bunch of grapes, hemorrhoids like a bunch of grapes. That is one thing which remains in mind, and second important thing which remains in the mind is um, it is a remedy for dysentery, because we used to think about the remedy with certain specific things, and because of which these things remains in our mind. But this remedy is also having multiple actions, and it is a deep acting remedy. It is not an acute remedy, even though it is a chronic. Its pace is quite good, so it can tackle amoebic dysentery very easily. Generally, these peoples, the allos peoples, are having a lethargic constitution, and that's why I want to share one case. In fact, it was a way back. The patient came to me, an old fellow brought to me, nearly about 65 years of age, from a village, and that fellow, a typical farmer, and who doesn't have a strength in his body, and was suffering from the chronic dysentery. They consider he was seen by multiple doctors, and they labeled that it is a case of irritable bowel syndrome, IBS. And they have tried many remedies, but he was not settled, and he was absolutely exhausted and brought to me. When I saw him, he looks to be a old person, doesn't have a strength, but not so much of age, 60 to 65 around, and a farmer, but a completely lethargic, doesn't have strength. One thing which he has mentioned, that he doesn't have control on his bowels, and there is a continuous passing of the stools, and it is the stools which contains stool particle very less, but it contains more and more mucoid type of discharge. Even whenever he passes the flatus, there is a discharge of mucus, and he can't control that. That is what his problem was, because of which he was in bed since long time, and he was exhausted. He was not eating too much because he never had a control over his stools, and he felt ashamed, and that's why he tries to avoid the food. But still, even after avoiding the food, he used to suffer from the such mucoid discharge continuously, involuntarily, whenever he used to pass the platters. Sometimes even not passing platters, the discharge of the stool used to happen. So this was the case, and patient was absolutely weakened, very exhausted. That's what the appearance was there. So it was a typical Alu's personality, exhausted, very old persons having irritable bowel syndromes, where the stools are more of a mucoid nature, and he was having associated with that a backache. So I considered the Aloe Socotrina. I have given Aloe in 200 potency and asked him to start it 3 times a day. And whenever, after giving 3 times a day on day one, thereafter, whenever the patient gets a problem, repeat it. If there is a dysentery, stop, no more repetition. So repeat it after every stool. That's what I have told with the patient. And they brought that patient after a period of month, but this time the patient came with his on his own feet. He was quite good in condition, his health was improved, his appetite was improved, and he was too happy after observing him, and he said that, doctor, when you have given medicine, I have took it for nearly 3 4 days, but after that my dysentery stopped completely. I was able to eat and I was consuming good food, and even though I never get a diarrhea or dysentery. So this is what the aloes is there. Aloes has that loss of control over the sphincter ani. That is the problem of aloes. And that's why there is, as soon as they get the urge, they have to run for the closet. Or even after eating something, they have to run to the closet. There is a severe gastrocolic reflex which happens to be there, and because of which they want to, or they have to run to the closet, and they don't control the stools, and that is what is the aloes is there. So aloes I have prescribed on that basis and cured that patient. So that was one case which I never forget, because it was a tremendous change within a month which I have seen with that patient. We labeled patient of irritable bowel syndrome. Second case where I was stuck with soranum, sulfur, all those remedies, a case of little bit like a psoriatic eczema, and which used to happen every year in the winter only. So first remedy, whenever we used to get such winter aggravation and the skin problems, whenever it is associated with the dermatitis, we used to think generally of a petroleum. So petroleum failed, then I have considered the soranum, which also failed, then sulfur also failed. So he was not satisfied with that. So I was thinking what to do, and while reading the aloes, I came across one sentence which was very specifically mentioned over there, that itching, there is a itching every winter, every returns in every winter, and he has mentioned along with aloes the sorana. So I considered, let us try with the aloes, because this remedy I have never used for the skin complaints earlier. So I have given the aloes, and to my surprise, within 15 days, the itching has lost, the eruptions disappeared, and he felt so nice after consuming the aloe. There, I have started with aloes 30, and it was repeated for a period of a week, and I stopped that after a week, and I saw progress within 15 days. So it was absolutely a not having a thought of aloes in the skin complaints, but it worked in that case very nicely, which was not there in my mind. But just because I was reading the Materia Medica and I came across, this is the thing. So this is my habit whenever I used to read the Materia Medica, and if I recollect any patient, I write on his case paper regarding that remedy. And because of which it becomes quite easy to find it out such a things. So this is one more case which I have recovered with the help of aloes. So with this introduction, we'll enter into the Allen's keynotes and we'll understand what Allen wants to explain about the Aloe Socotrina. Aloe Socotrina. It is Socotrine aloes, Liliaceae, a remedy from Liliaceae family. Adapted to indolent. First word, indolent. Indolent means lazy. Weary persons. Weary means exhausted. Thaklele. Adapted to indolent, weary persons, averse to either mental or physical labor. So they never want to do a physical work or mental work. They feel exhausted. They feel absolutely weary. They are weary because of just physical exertion. Even mental labor fatigues them. So they never want the mental labor also. Not only the physical, but also the mental labor fatigues them. See, the first sentence of the Allen's keynotes defines how the person is, Aloe's personality. See the difference, aconite, where the person is absolutely in vigor. Here it is absolutely opposite in Aloe's. See, old people, these things which we have to catch, these are the old people, especially women of a relaxed phlegmatic habit. Phlegmatic habits means these are having a quite good fat over their body, because of which they are quite slow. They are not able to walk fast. They are not able to work fast. They are not able to show activity, body activity. Whenever you call them, they are becomes like this, and their movements are. You get irritated on their movements. That is a phlegmatic constitution. They are quite slow and quite fatigued constitution. Extreme prostration with perspiration. Little bit exertion causes a lot of perspiration over there, and they get very easily prostrated. This is what aloes is. There is one important thing which is there in aloes, that whenever they pass the stools, that exertion also causes a perspiration in those patients. So patient goes for a closet and comes after passing stools, and he is absolutely exhausted, prostrated, and feels that there is as if something has happened. Whole body perspires. There are two ends in aloes. One end is constipation, and another end is the diarrhea. These are two absolutely different ends which you can get in this remedy. So this is what we have to understand in this remedy, that one end covers up the constipation, and while passing the stools he also have a lot of prostration after passing the stools, and he perspires. So, like anaxomika, here also you get the constipation as well as diarrhea, but it is not like naxomika. In naxomika, there is alternate diarrhea and constipation. Here it is not alternating thing. Either a patient have obstinate constipation, or either a patient has a diarrhea. Both things are either or. Each appears each year as winter approaches. See, this is the sentence which I have used in that case. And it is the important feature. We never think about it when we think about the aloes. So in the bracket he has written the soranum, and soranum is wonderful remedy for such types of cases. Psoriasis always used to get aggravated in winter. That's why, as an intercurrent remedy, soranum plays a very vital role. And soranum is not a purely antisoric remedy. Soranum has a sorosyphilitic taint. That's why it is a tubercular remedy, and psoriasis comes in tubercular miasm. Psoriasis is not a soric entity. Psoriasis is always from tubercular miasm, and that's why soranum is one of the important remedy. Either it is a similimum, or either as an intercurrent you can use in cases of the psoriasis. Dissatisfied and angry about himself. See the sentence, dissatisfied about self. So they are not satisfied with their own progress. They are not satisfied with their own thoughts. And they get angry on self. That is very important. They never gets angry on others, they get angry on self. Because they are not satisfied at all level. They consider that whatever they are doing is wrong. Or he's dissatisfied and angry about his himself, or his complaints. So they are dissatisfied and angry about their own complaints also. That is one important thing. And specifically or specially when constipated. There are many people, they talks to you, doctor, whenever I never get the stool passed, I feel quite irritable. I feel what is wrong with me? What is problem with my GI system? And this troubles me a lot. These are the patients who are talking about their aloes. They are talking about the aloes. This is the aloes language with which patient talks to you. They explain that their problem about if the constipation is relieved, I am happy. This is their problem. So constipation is an issue in case of aloes patients, and this is one important thing one should not forget. Diseases of mucous membranes causes the production of mucus in jelly-like lumps. Underline this. This is given already in italics. Mucus in jelly-like lumps from throat or rectum. So see, both levels, either in the throat, either in the rectum, there is a mucus which is secreted, and that mucus is thrown away in the expectoration, and that is lumpy jelly-like mucus. Or even if it passes in during stool, or even not during stool, it can pass involuntarily from the anus. and that is the jelly-like, lump-like mucus which comes out. That is very typical of the aloes. So it has very specific action in throat as well as in rectal mucous membrane. Affects mucous membranes of the rectum, and that is the site where it works. So this is a very good remedy, specifically whenever irritable bowel syndrome is there, whenever there is a ulcerative colitis. This remedy has a very important role. Now he turns toward the particulars. And in the particulars, the first he explains about the headache. Headaches across the forehead. So this is very specifically related with forehead, aggravated by every footstep, like belladonna, like a bryonia. Whenever patient walks, every footstep there is jerk and there is a headache. Very similar to belladonna. Belladonna, it is throbbing. In bryonia, it is also a stitching type of pain. Headache with heaviness of eyes and associated with nausea. So there is a headache associated with very heavy eyes like a gelsemium, but it is very specifically associated with the nausea. So nauseated feeling is associated in this specific headache of aloe. Headaches are worse from heat and better from cold, like arsenic album. So they feel aggravated. Whenever heat is there, their headache gets aggravated. Whenever they apply cold to head, they feel better. And this is the modality in arsenic album. But arsenic album, it is the only particular modality. Arsenic album, otherwise chilly person, but only the head is hot. Here, the person generally feels aggravated by the heat and ameliorated by the cold. Headaches alternating with lumbago. This should be underlined. These certain specific alternating symptoms, you must have a separate notebook, write it over there, and go through them again and again. Because such states, if you get directly a remedy. Headache alternating with lumbago. Very characteristic, it becomes characteristic. Headaches after insufficient stools. So patient is not able to pass the proper stools and he gets the headache. So patient explains that whenever I never get satisfied, I start getting the headache. See, these are the things which makes the aloes very characteristic at the level of headache. So headache is not just a common headache of the aloe. There are many symptoms associated. There are many alternating symptoms. There are many specific modalities where the aloes gets explained. Then he goes towards the GI features, and GI features are in fact most important features of the aloe. Diarrhea has to hurry to the closet immediately after eating and drinking, like crotanti, like sulfur, with want of diarrhea, with want of confidence in sphincter ani. So they don't have confidence with the sphincter ani and they have to run to driving out of bed early in the morning, soranum, rumex, sulfur. These are the more morning diarrhea remedies, and every remedy out of this, they have to hurry for closet. This is very specific diarrhea of the aloes. When passing flatters, sensation as if stool would pass it. So see, this is another feature that there is lots of control over the sphincter ani, because of which during passing the flatters, stools gets escaped. Oleander, muriatic acid, natrum muriaticum. Colic. Now the colic is very important. Colic. What type of colic? The cutting, the gripping pain in the right lower portion of abdomen. Gripping in Marathi, murda marun येणं असं म्हणतात लोक. That is gripping pain. It is absolutely constricting pain inside the abdomen. Excruciating before and during stool. Excruciating means cannot hold, it cannot control. This is so severe, troublesome. Excruciating pain before and during stool. All pain cease after the stool. So as soon as the stools are passed, patient feels relaxed. That is very important. Leaving profuse sweating. So whenever patient passes the stool, he gets relaxed, but there is lot of sweating, profuse sweating, and extreme weakness which develops after passing the stool. Attacks preceded by obstinate constipation. So there is a constipation. Thereafter, the patient passes stools, and after that, weakness, frustration, and lot of sweating. This is very typical with the aloe. Either they get diarrhea, either they get the constipation, but with either with the diarrhea or with constipation, the colic is very important concomitant which you can see. Flatus, offensive, burning, copious, much flatus with small stool, like agaricus. So flatus is much more, but stools are very less in quantity. Burning in anus after passage of flatus. There is severe burning in the anus after passing the flatus. How to differentiate between colocynth and aloes? We'll discuss at the end, definitely, sure. Stools, solid stool and masses of mucus pass involuntarily. And this is very important. This patient complains that there is passes of mucus continuously. Even without having an urge to pass the stools, it gets involuntarily passed. Hungry during diarrhea. Contradictory. Patient gets diarrhea, but he is hungry. Before stool, there is a rumbling. Rumbling means noisy, noises which happens to be there. Violent sudden urging, heaviness in the rectum. During stool, the stool tenesmus and much flatus, and after stool, there is a faintness. So before, during, after stool, there is an aggravation. At all levels, there are different features. Before stool, there is a rumbling with violent sudden urging, with heaviness in the rectum. During stool, there is tenesmus and much flatus, and after stool, there is a prostration or faintness. This is the aloes. And then lastly, it comes to the hemorrhoids. Hemorrhoids are very typical. They are blue, like a bunch of grapes, like muriatic acid. But muriatic acid has a lot of sensitivity. There is severe pain and burning, very marked with muriatic acid. Slightest touch aggravates in the muriatic acid. Hemorrhoids with constant bearing down in the rectum, bleeding, sore, tender, hot, relieved by cold water, and hemorrhoids with intense itching. So this is very typical with the aloes hemorrhoids. They are like bunch of grapes. They are blue in color. There is tremendous itching. They gets aggravated by the warm thing. They gets ameliorated by the cold water. And general modality, the heat aggravates and cold ameliorates in case of aloes. Itching and burning in the anus preventing sleep. See, very important, like indigo. Itching and burning in the anus, severe itching. Itching is characteristic of the aloes, and it is because there are the hemorrhoids, which because of which there is a irritation over there causing an itching. But it prevents the sleep. That is another important feature. Now he turns towards the relationship. Like sulfur in many chronic diseases with abdominal plethora and congestion of portal circulation. So this remedy is also having very typical action on portal circulation. Every remedy where the hemorrhoids are there, they have a action on the pelvic or portal congestion. They have portal circulation gets affected. Develops suppressed eruptions. So suppressed eruption causing a problem. This remedy also plays very important role. Similar to ammonium mur, at many levels it is close to ammonium mur. Gambogia for diarrhea. Nux with urging for stool with alternate diarrhea and constipation. Podophyllum with close relationship with diarrhea. Specifically, diarrhea of painless diarrhea you can get with podophyllum and aloes. Many times there it is involuntary passing without gripping also. Aggravation. This is general modality of the remedy. Early morning diarrhea, early morning aggravation, sedentary life always aggravates like Naxomica. Here it is close to Naxomica. Hot, dry weather aggravation. So this is a remedy along with podophyllum, that summer diarrhea. Aggravation after eating or drinking, standing or walking. Aggravation after standing, aggravation after walking. See, the modalities are very specific. It is a hot remedy and better by cold. So that amelioration comes over there. Amelioration from cold water, cold weather, discharge of flatus and stool. These are the general modalities of the aloes. So the remedy, which is very useful in GI complaints specifically, associated with hemorrhoids, associated with backache, associated with the itching of the anus, associated with the bluish grape like a bunch of grapes, like hemorrhoids. So this remedy plays very vital role in such types of disorders. At the same time, it has very important role in amoebic type of dysentery. Here it is, you can compare it with the arsenic, but arsenic is more clearly indicated in the toxic dysenteries. So it is a poisonous. So it is a bacillary dysentery which you can get in arsenic also, because food poisoning. It is a remedy for food poisoning. In arsenic, the dysentery is associated with fever, associated with thirst for water, sips of water continuously. Arsenic is very difficult infective focus. Aloes, it is not infective like bacilli, but here entamoeba like. So here colic is more marked, gripping is more marked, mucus passing is more marked. So blood is not more marked in the dysentery of aloes, which is more in case of arsenic album. So crotantic, bacillary dysentery more than amoebic dysentery. How to differentiate colocynth and aloes? Colocynth is specifically, yes, it is colic remedy, but colocynth feels better by bending double, and they comes to you in a very acute pain, acute abdomen with bending double, and they bends and they never wants to change the position, and they feels better by pressure, and it is a colicky type of pain which is persistent. Generally, this passing of mucus or stools is not the problem with the colocin. It is the spasm which is more marked in case of colocin. So any acute pathology of the abdomen where there is a severe colicky pain, better by or makes the patient to bend double without having a dysentery or diarrhea, that colocin is the important remedy. It feels better by pressure. That is another important indication. And in aloes, it is associated with the colic. The colic is associated with passing of dysentery, mucoid stools. So that differentiates two remedies very easily. It is just a colic you can get in colocin. But in colocin, you can go for high potency. If it is a dysmenorrhea, you can go for 1M, 10M also. Aloes is sensitive remedy. Aloes, there is no need to go more than 200. 200 is better potency to be utilized. Uh, we never required the generally 1M potency also in Aloe Socotrina. Generally, 200 is maximum potency, 30, 200, these are the two potencies which are commonly utilized and works very fast in cases of aloes. So that's all regarding the aloes from Alan's keynote. Any specific question is there? Yes, we'll have a chat. Otherwise, we'll conclude. And tomorrow, on Monday, not tomorrow, tomorrow there will be no session. On Monday, we'll start with one more complementary to the Allen, complementary to the sulfur, that is the Naxwamika. Aloes, which miasm? Aloes is the anti-psoric remedy. Basically, the miasm is very clearly the psora. It is. It is not. It is not bacillary dysentery. Lot generally, it is more of a psoric. It is not acute. It is chronic. Acute presentation. Chronic with acute presentation. It is portal congestion which is there. So some features goes in favor of psychotic, but more commonly it is purely a psoric remedy. Psoric diathesis is more marked with some psychotic trend. Any other query? Any other question? So we'll conclude today's session and we'll meet on Monday directly. Uh,
Sir, one question.
yeah.
Sir, how to differentiate between Naxomica and aloe morning diarrhea or loose motion?
We'll learn the Naxwamika on Monday, and then it will be quite easy to understand because we're going to learn the Naxwamika. Because
Okay,
if
sir.
you understand it clearly, then you easily differentiate between these two. It is very easy.
Okay, sir. Okay.
So thanks a lot being there. We'll meet on Monday at 6 or 5:45 with philosophy and 8:30 with Madhya Medica. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir.